Welcome back, everybody, to episode 122 of Puppet Masters and Castle Freaks, the internet's leading all things Charles Band podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jarrod Hornbeck, coming to you from Confederation Playing Field here in Brooklyn, New York. And, I am standing up here in my giant mech suit, but I see an Alexander across the way, but it is not my usual co-host, Steve Guntley. No, it is returning guest John Torrani here for a very special bonus episode. Yes, we're going to do things a little bit differently here. This is a bit unorthodox of an episode. We're breaking a bit from our format, but I think you're all going to be pretty excited as to why we're breaking format here. So, John, I've got you here instead of Steve, so this must be exciting. First of all, great to have you back. How are you doing? And tell everyone why you're here.
It is great to be back, Jarrod. I am so excited. Am I your third time guest? This is my third time on the podcast, and I am back for a third time because we tracked down Joe Haldeman, Robot Jock screenwriter, and he is going to be addressing the fans, the Charles Band fans, the Charles Band Empire Full Moon fans. I think this is for the first time. I don't know if it is or not, but we're just going to say it's the first time, Joe.
Yeah, I will say the only third timer besides you, John, is Nat Bremer, who wrote the Puppet Master Complete book. So he's done Puppet Masters 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 with us in 3 double episodes. So he's been the first third timer. So you are the second third timer on the show. But Joe, thank you. We're very excited to have you as part of the Puppet Masters and Castle Freaks family here. We tend to outsource a lot of our bonus stuff tends to be devoted to really like horror genre people. And Robot Jocks is always sort of an outlier in the catalog of our movies. I mean, we've covered, Arena and other kind of more sci-fi Empire stuff from that time period. But really, we get a lot of horror content creators or directors or writers. And so I'm really glad that you're here to talk about this movie because it always feels a little bit, even though it's a Stuart Gordon movie, it feels a little bit like an outlier on our show. And I'm so excited to get a lot of a deep dive into information on this one. And I know I have a few things I'd like to ask, and I know John has amazing questions, but I just also wanted to thank you for taking the time to come on the show.
Oh, sure. I'll try to be horrible.
Yes. Successful so far. No, I'm
kidding. Oh, good.
And Joe, introduce your wife. Your wife's here too.
Yes.
This is my wife, Mary Gay Haldeman, is right beside me in our huge palatial studio down here in Florida. Well, it's in Florida anyhow.
I was along on the Robot Jocks ride, so I'm his portable hard drive. So
I love it.
I may remember some things that he won't.
Yeah, we were together. It was all in Rome for the two of us, and we enjoyed that part immensely. Just hanging around in Rome with all the movie people. It's great.
Wow. Well, let's get, before we get to Rome, let's start with like how you first got into the science fiction genre, because I know you're a very accomplished science fiction author. And could you just give us like whatever you think is appropriate length explanation of how you discovered science fiction and how you eventually became such an accomplished author?
Well, I started reading science fiction back in the 50s in grade school. There was a woman, a young teenage girl actually, who seemed extremely old to me because I was like 11 or so and she was 17. Oh, can you believe it? She had breasts. Oh my God. And she was a science fiction nut. And she was the daughter of my teacher when I was in 3rd grade. And the teacher got the two of us together, and so this 17-year-old girl dressed in extremely tight jeans with, in those days, the zipper came up the side, and she would light matches on the side of her jeans to smoke cigarettes. And I thought, oh my God, could anything be more grown up than smoking cigarettes that you lit with wooden matches that you struck on your zipper on the jeans? I thought, oh my God, I was very impressionable in those old days. No longer, of course. But anyhow, she would loan me her science fiction books, and so I could read them without my parents looking over my shoulder. And I read all the Heinlein, Clark, Asimov, basic science fiction novels and short story collections back then. And it was I learned more from that stack of books than I did from everything else in grade school and junior high school and such.
So then you started writing.
And then I started writing too.
Yeah. So then when did you decide that you wanted to write your own?
Right away, I think I was drawing cartoons, comic strips, when I was in, I guess, about the third grade, fourth grade. And that's where I started storytelling. It was with comic strips rather than books or stories. And I don't know, when I grew up and got to be about 13 or 14, I started writing actual stories. I got a typewriter and learned how to type, or after a fashion, and then did that. And now I'm back to writing in longhand. But it happens to a lot of people.
You sold your first story.
Oh, I sold my first story in 1968, 9. Was it?
Yep.
Well, 1969, she says, and she keeps track of these things. Yeah, that's right. I was still in Vietnam in 68.
So that was gonna be my question: was before or after you were in Vietnam? Because I saw on Wikipedia that was a big influence on you, and so my question. So I guess, yeah. So you published this after you got back.
Yeah, immediately after I started writing science fiction, but I was involved in science fiction fandom a few years before I had my first story published. And I got to know a few of the fans and writers and artists. So,
And they were helpful.
very helpful. Yeah, as you may know, it's a congenial group of idiots. We all hang around together.
So while you were in the military, were you talking to guys about that? Do you, did you ever say, hey, do you guys watch Star Trek or anything? Because like Star Trek was around at that point, right?
Yeah, but I was drafted, and I never met. I knew one guy who actually had been out through high school and into college. Everybody else that I knew was illiterate and just drafted, and they had no interest in science fiction because none of them read. I mean, they didn't read for entertainment, but they also could hardly read a cereal box without help. That was the Army in those days.
Got it. So I guess we're gonna flash forward like 20 years now. So how did you get approached initially to write this script? Was it by Stuart Gordon? Was it by Charles Band? Like, who came to you? And also, was this an existing idea, or did they come to you and say, Joe, we have this idea for this giant robot thing. We think you should write the screenplay?
Well, they that was basically it. But they hired me to write a Stuart Gordon hired me to write a stage play. Which was, pardon me, of the Forever War, but my novel, and
With the Organic Theater Company in Chicago, which he I think at that time.
Yes.
Yep.
And
Can you tell us a little bit about that before? I'm sorry to cut you off, but can you tell us a little bit about the Forever War? Because I'm curious to know why, what. I want to see if I can understand why Stuart would have been attracted to that and how that would work as a stage play.
Fine. The Forever War is a story about a future war between humans and some aliens called the Taurans. And it's a broad satire of American warfare in Vietnam and before and after that. Stuart wanted to write this story, and he got me to do an adaptation that we did for a small theater group, the Organic Theater Company in Chicago. And, it was a huge success by the standards of small neighborhood theater, or art theater, I suppose you would say. And I don't know, got some feelers for movies and such. And Stuart, who directed and partly produced, I suppose, the stage play, helped me promote it into a movie.
That didn't happen.
Pardon me?
That didn't happen.
That didn't happen. But it was started, and it got picked up.
Stuart was a science fiction fan. He'd read the book. He liked the book, and that's essentially why he wanted a play of it.
Yeah.
And how far did that go as? How far did that get as a potential movie? Was the intention for Stuart to direct that?
No,
No, I don't think so.
I think he would like to have,
Yeah.
but it didn't get nearly that far.
No.
Okay.
And
So-
likewise, the Band brothers probably wanted to get in pretty deep.
That was the band. He wasn't working with the Band brothers yet.
Yeah.
At that time.
Okay. So at the time, so at what point did he say, okay, so Forever War isn't going to go, but now, was it your idea for the giant robot thing, or was it Stuart's? How
No,
did that?
That was Stuart's notion. In fact, he and who was the artist? He hired an artist.
Ron Cobb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ron Cobb.
Yeah.
Cobb did a lot of conceptual art, and that's where the basic design of the robots came from. I think a conversation between Stuart and Ron. And, they handed me this concept. Go ahead.
Remember when Stuart called and said, remember what he said?
Oh,
Hey, Joe, would you like, remember?
he said, "Hey, Joe, would you like to write this movie about giant robots and bouncing around in the future?" And I said, "No."
He said that, how would you like to write a movie that'll be produced?
Yeah. Then I said, "Oh, okay."
And then
And
he told us about the robots.
yeah, but I mean, I had a lot of respect for Stuart from the very beginning. He's a guy who generates respect, top to bottom. I mean, stagehands loved him, and the stars loved him, and everything.
Of course. This is the first time that I've heard that the movie was conceived by Stuart and Ron Cobb, because I own a lot of that original art that you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's in the other room over there, but I own most of it. But I had always thought that there would have been a script and it would have been further along before Ron would have started drawing stuff. But I guess
No,
John, have you learned nothing about the Charlie Band School of Marketing Films? Poster and artwork comes first.
right.
artwork and-
Story, script, and all that stuff comes later. I mean, you got a good poster, you're 50% of the way there. Is
Yeah.
the case for the majority of stuff we've covered on the show.
Yeah,
Well,
the idea is
sorry.
the idea
Sorry,
is
Joe.
yeah. Okay, it that doesn't surprise me. I mean, you could tell, when Charlie walked into the room, you could tell this is a man who's extremely successful and expects you to obey him. And
Yeah.
I'm an old hippie, man. That does not charm me. I'm going, well, basically, let's see how far this goes, but fuck you very much. I'm out of here. And, I didn't have to work with the Band brothers at all.
I knew that was coming.
I mean, they were in the background, but I hardly ever saw them.
Sure.
Got it. All right. So then, so how developed was Stuart's idea? Was it just like, hey, we're going to do a giant robot and here are these drawings, figure the rest out? Or did he have a loose story? Like, how'd you guys get started?
We didn't have a story. We had a bunch of pictures. And there were story elements, like he really wanted to have this scene where there was a bleacher full of proletarians who had fall to their death during this battle between the robots. I thought, well, okay, that's easy to write into it. And yeah, in the script that takes like 1 page, and I suppose in the budget it took about 50% of the complications. You may have noticed. I'm sure you noticed if you know movies and such. There aren't a lot of crowd scenes, but there are a few crowd scenes that are quite central to the story. They actually blew a whistle and brought in all these guys in Rome, all these just plain old extras who had come down on the bus for that one day and put on their costumes. They had this whole bleacher full of costumes, and they dress up like the future people and mill around and then go home and come back next week and do it again. I'm not experienced in making movies. All I do is write books, actually, and so I was fascinated by the way they actually put this thing together.
Now, going back to the script and your collaboration with Stuart, do you remember anything that was uniquely Stuart's or something that was uniquely yours? Because I like the scene where the people on the bleachers get killed. That's in the final film.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was there anything else like that there's something where Stuart's like, I really want to see, a chainsaw come out of one of them? Was there anything else like that? Was there anything else that was very specific to him, or if there's anything else that you could speak to that where you said, Stuart, I have this idea for whatever, what else?
Well,
And
Stuart
John, sorry, Joe, before you answer the question, Joe, I just want to kind of add a little bit to that. In reading a bit about Robot Jocks, particularly it came from the Video Isle book. I know you were interviewed by David J. for that book. And I think we talked about it in our original episode about the difference in idea of tones of the movie. Mm-hmm. And I know it sort of was written that you wanted a more adult movie that kids could enjoy, and Stuart wanted more of a kids movie with some adult moments. I guess looping that into John's question as well, was that outwardly true, or is that sort of like, the author having a little fun?
No, I think that was something that Stuart recognized quite well.
Stuart, I don't think it was deliberate, though.
No,
that's a quote from Stuart,
yeah.
by the way.
Yeah,
he said that himself.
Yeah, Stuart said, Joe, you're writing an adult story that kids can understand, and I'm trying to make a movie that kids will like and adults won't be too bored with. Yeah. I'm going, wait. But who gets the final say on these things, and it's not the writer.
Oh, Jarrod turned his camera off. I don't know. Jarrod, you okay?
Yeah, no, I'm here. I just need to have my camera off for a minute. I'm here.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, just going back to the tone. Now, occasionally I'm going to be referencing the Robot Jocks adaptation. I don't know if you've ever taken a look at that. There's a novelization of Robot Jocks. Have you seen that? Have you ever tried reading that?
Oh,
Joe?
Yeah, I've read it. I mean, I looked at it.
Yeah.
I don't remember that you ever read it.
No, I got it way after the fact.
Right. And when I read it recently, and it kind of it seemed almost there were a lot more references in the media in the novelization, where it almost kind of comes across like either, I don't know if you are familiar with these movies, Death Race 2000 or The Running Man, where the idea that Robot Jocks is like a very popular TV show that people watch at home.
Oh yeah.
So now, was that something that was in your script, or is that something that they made up for the novelization?
That was in the background of the script.
Okay.
Because it was the whole idea of these games was sort of between popular television and Roman spectacle, borrowing a little from one, a little from the other. I think Stuart had a fairly clear idea of what sort of entertainment he was making. But it really is, of course, a story about an entertainment that he hopes will be entertaining by itself. Because there's, to me, the central scene to the movie is that scene with the bleachers where all these people die essentially for a
That scene always really sticks out to me. Like every time I see the movie, I'm like, this scene is so heavy for kind of the tone of the rest of it. And it's, maybe like you said before, Joe, if it was more of a movie aimed at kids, you wouldn't have that kind of human moment like that. But I feel like it always hits.
Well, yeah, and I think there's a practical aspect, although I don't recall ever talking with Stuart about this. But after you have made a central scene that cost about half as what the movie's budget was and had all these extra people involved, you couldn't just position it in the movie. It's got to be central to the movie. And it just came in as a given thing on a platter. Like, here's this flounder, and I'm sorry, it's sort of stinks, but you've got to work it into the menu. And that's where I was as the storyteller. But it's I had no experience with writing spectacle, and so I was sort of working over Stuart's shoulder there, and I wouldn't say it's the strongest part of the movie.
You were rewriting every day
Oh yeah, oh my, I
during
was.
filming. That was an experience.
Yeah, this is high tech. I was sitting with a 1927 Royal typewriter, typing up pages of script every day, and they'd take it to the typist room, and they would bang out about 20 copies of it, send it around.
Well, what was changing? What was the what would they, and would they give you, and why were things changing? Was it just a budgetary thing, or was it creative things? Did they hand pages to Gary and say, Gary say, I'm not reading this, or did remember so why was things changing?
Well, the whole project was very kinetic. That is to say, we had this studio in Rome for 29 or 30 days, and that was it. We had to have a movie in the can as soon as the rent ran out. So we were really on a 24-hour day schedule, and running scared in many ways.
The actors would have input, and the script would change as they decided what their relationship would be. And
which was kind of all right. I mean, because the actors got into it, and that was fun.
So how was their relationship different from like when you initially started? Like what was your initial vision for them? Because I mean, it all comes together very well. I don't what? Sorry, what?
Yeah, it does actually. I found surprising. But this was not Stuart's first time around the block, so he was sort of integrating all these more or less professional, more or less amateur movie makers. And I say movie makers because it's everybody. I don't even know how big the cast was, but there was a huge room full of costumes and a whole bunch of people running around with notes as to how they're supposed to run around. And then there was me and the half a dozen main actors, and we would get together and compare notes and keep changing the script every day. I would say almost every day for that month. But as I say, it was our idea of making the movie was quite kinetic, which is not the way I had worked in the past. But that's great. I mean, we had a ball doing it.
So now just to ask you about some specific things. Now, one thing that I find very smart about the movie, and I don't know if this was your thing or if this was Stuart's thing, you can clear it up. The film isn't actually time stamped. they never say 100 years in the future, 200 years in the future, in the year whatever. It just says after the nuclear holocaust. There's no.
Yeah.
Now, is that intentional? Is that by design? Because that gives the film a bit of a sense of timelessness, where it could really take place at any time. So what I tell people so great about it is that it's just as relevant today,
Yeah.
if not more so, than when it was released.
Yeah, I
So-
think that's totally Stuart's idea. I don't remember that it ever came up past the initial, storyline conferences. Yeah, that was Stuart's baby.
Okay. And so you never said that we should have a year or a time or anything. You just okay. So some in the future at some point.
Yeah, we said ballpark. It's about 100 years from now or 80 years from now, whatever.
Okay. All right. Well, that was very clever that you never did it, because I think.
Well, it's an old science fiction trick.
Oh, okay. Well, because it seems like no one adheres to it because everyone timestamps everything, like how
Yeah.
Escape from New York takes place in the nightmarish future of 1997.
Yeah,
So it's like, I feel like people, it's like, people don't, I feel, do that enough. So it's,
right. Yeah.
so can you tell me what else about the world building? Like what did you guys, how did you guys come up with the world that this takes place in? Because in the novelization, they outline very specifically what countries are in the market and what countries are in the Confederation. Before we even get that far, how did you come up with those two names, the market and the Confederation?
I wanted to ask that as well.
Yeah.
I think that was Stuart, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it came with the original
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what the very first treatment that I got must have been about 20 pages.
He gave you one page, and then he gave you about 20 pages.
Yeah.
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 Oh, okay. So he had a full treatment before you before you even started.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I just started hacking away at the script, saying, "Wait, we can't do that," or "I can't do that," and then Stuart would go, "Oh yes, you can. Come on, get off your high horse." That sort of thing.
Do you still have that?
Somewhere, yeah.
I've got a box of.
We don't throw anything away,
Yeah.
so it's here somewhere.
Yeah.
Wow. I would love to read that. I would love to. I would give anything to read that.
I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. I would be so interested to read that. Okay. So anyway, yeah. So even if that was Stuart's idea for the two areas, what else went into how else did you construct the world that it takes place in?
Well, I sort of was responsible for the conventional science fiction trappings. That is, say, setting the level of technology for homes and transportation and government and this and that and the other thing. Stuart's got a tremendous visual imagination, and he did most of the cosmetic or surface stuff. So I was doing the world building. Mostly Stuart was at my side for that, but I guess if I'm reconstructing it accurately, I was sort of inventing the world from the ground up, and Stuart was helping me with the upholstery and
You
Yeah,
did a
so-
lot of the upholstery.
yeah, I did.
Like there's a billboard that says something futuristic, I forget, but that was you.
Yeah. Of course, after the fact, it's hard to sort out who did what.
Yeah.
Did you not to get too sidetracked, but the two movies are kind of intertwined. Did you ever see the Guillermo del Toro Pacific Rim?
Yes.
Yeah, finally I did.
Yeah. So there's an idea in that movie that the individual needs to have some sort of a link to the giant robot, and that is in the novelization, but I noticed that it's not in the movie. Was that something that either you or Stuart had come up with that you just either didn't have time for, or was that something that was just written for the novelization? Because
I don't recall that it wasn't in the movie. I mean, the idea that we were working with was there was almost a telepathic link between the.
Yeah, that's what I mean, because that
Mhm.
that appears in the novelization and that appears in Pacific Rim, but it's not actually in the Robot Jox film. That's never mentioned.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
that's interesting because I can see the technical difficulties in presenting it as part of a movie continuity. You know, oh, don't forget to plug in your brain, that kind of thing.
Stuart was unhappy with Pacific Rim because he thought it ripped off Robot Jox.
Right? Yeah.
Well, it absolutely did. So, but yeah, now we just found another example of that. That's little known because I'm sure Guillermo read the novelization.
Yeah.
Also,
John,
not
maybe
he-
you can answer this for me because I was wondering this. I know you and we've mentioned the Robot Jox novelization. I know some of the questions you designed for this highlight some differences between the shooting script and the final product and the novelization. Normally, I think of novelizations, I think of ones that were either coming out at the time of a movie's theatrical release or followed shortly thereafter. When did the Robot Jox novelization come out?
You got me.
Roughly.
You stumped me. I don't know. Do you want me to go grab it and look at it? It's like a second in arm's
He's
reach.
finding it.
Yeah, if you have it, sure. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
really curious because I got sort of some of my facts mixed up, and I was thinking that there was, because I know there was a connection to Dennis Paoli, who authored the novelization, to my knowledge,
No.
and we can talk more about it or was it
Robert-
not?
Robert
Okay,
Thurston.
see that's
Yeah.
so that's where I'm getting this stuff kind of mixed up in my head, and that's why I think I don't know. I deal with a lot of Charles Band stuff, and so
Yeah.
I was getting it confused that there was a novelization sort of on the way, maybe, or something, but that the fact that it was already made, now I started to think, when was it actually?
The copyright page says 89.
Yeah.
So it
Same.
would, yeah, wow. So that's wild. That's actually even before the theatrical release.
Yeah. Bob Thurston wrote the novelization from my script and some notes here and there. But we had a lot of notes for the physical surround of the script, so he was working with that too.
But the movie didn't come out for quite a while after it was made because
Right.
it got caught up in financial stuff.
And I don't want this to sidetrack this too much, but I really was curious. You're talking about how you got involved in the project and all of the writing. And the writing is always the early stages of those movies. And I know we're talking concept 86, we're talking principal photography early 87. And then when you add in what the movie took for all of the Dave Allen stuff to happen, I mean, we're talking years. And then with Empire sort of crumbling, and all that stuff, was there ever a time where around like 88, 89 where you felt like this thing may never see the light of day?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I got my money, you know. And
That's what I wanted to know. That's what I was just making sure that you were compensated.
Well, even more than that, though, the fun of being in Rome, making a movie with a bunch of really nice people, really interesting people, that was the great part of it. And, you know, the movie I thought was okay. And I was glad for that. Because when you're on the set, you know, and doing the dailies and all that, there are so many ways for a movie to go south. And we actually managed to.
And you can never really know either, like,
No.
what life a movie's going to lead once it's released. I mean, someone can make something and be convinced that they have the highest grossing movie of all time and the biggest hit of all time, and it could bomb. There's always a sleeper hit. Someone makes a movie, they don't know what to expect. I think when Robot Jox came out, it was, it got a relatively big release for those types of movies for an Empire picture. I think it's at 800 screens for a short theatrical release. And I think at the time, people were like, okay, cool. Like, it is what it is, but it had the misfortune of being associated with the bankruptcy of Empire, which
Yeah.
is unfair to put that obviously on the shoulders of this movie. But I do think this is a movie that has over years, and John is a testament to that, found its audience. I think people can watch Robot Jocks now and appreciate it so much more. I feel like that happens. Sometimes there's movies just like in the time they come out, they don't fit, they don't find their audience right away. And I think this is one where like you show this now to a group of people who've never seen it, and especially post Pacific Rim, I think it just like it really hits. I think it's a kind of movie that like people will be like, oh wow, I slept on this. I didn't know about this one. I didn't see this box in the video store. And so I just think it's been reappraised, and I'm happy that it has been, because watching it even as recently as today, I find so much to enjoy in it.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Yeah.
Well, that's also both good and bad, but I'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't get to see it until it was in theaters, so we didn't even know what it was going to be when they got done with
Right.
it.
I literally, I was in Hollywood and went to a theater and
Bought a
saw it.
ticket.
This is the first time I saw it. I bought a ticket to go in and see it. And that was weird because I was at the studio, and so I was sort of in the in crowd and part of the process. But to see it, I had to go downtown and buy a ticket. That's the Band Brothers, incidentally.
That's 0% surprised on this end hearing that.
But I mean, I have a feeling they would have had to buy a ticket too.
I
Yeah.
suspect.
I got a feeling. So
Yeah.
something tells me they probably wouldn't have been invited to anything either.
No.
But okay, so another specific moment that I'd like to ask you about, and this got kind of this is talked about a lot.
Mhm.
So Gary Graham, RIP, said that initially he was supposed to kill Alexander at the end of the movie, and you and Stuart kind of teamed up and got an idea at some point during production that you were going to have them stop fighting instead.
Yeah, that was Stuart talked me into that, I think. I can see why I would agree to it, but it seems to me that it was way far into the production when we set up that final scene.
I mean, and do you think it was the right decision? Because Gary, till when he passed, unfortunately, he said, I think I should have killed Alexander. That's he always felt that way.
Well, I don't blame him for feeling that way, and it's consistent with both Gary and his character.
Yeah.
But basically, the character's a cartoon. Okay, both Alexander and Achilles are straight from 1950s cartoons. And so I go, well, what do you expect? Yeah, he's going to pick up like the transaxle from a truck and go, honk, got you, motherfucker. Okay, we can't say motherfucker here, but we can put something in there. And I didn't like the last fight scene. I thought it was just too corny and too, I don't know, too unsurprising.
Do you remember how Alexander was supposed to die? Because Gary said that he was supposed to like pick something up and go to hit Achilles with it, and then it gets like stuck somewhere and he actually like electrocutes him to death or something. Do you remember what you had specifically?
That sounds familiar, but I have to say I don't remember the actual pages of script for that. And it would be like half a page. Yeah, it was, I don't know, because we went back and forth on those two characters. And I didn't agree very much with what they did. But I had to agree that the movie became more and more cartoony the longer we worked on it. And I'm not an expert in cartoons. I'm a novelist, basically. So I'm going, okay, you'll get away with it. And they knew what to get away with. I'm not criticizing them for that.
All right, and well, we've talked a little bit about Alexander and Achilles. What about the Athena character? Now, Mary. I'm Mary. Oh my God, I'm breaking out her name.
Anne Marie Johnson.
Anne Marie Johnson.
Yeah.
Anne Marie Johnson was saying how much she loved like the idea of her character being like this, like all racially encompassing person. Was that something that you guys originally had, or was that kind of retconned when they cast someone who is not white?
Oh, I think that was in Stuart's mind from the very beginning. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the pages looked like, because there were concept pictures for the characters early on, and I think she was non-white from the beginning. And Achilles, of course, was real white.
Mr. Macho.
Yeah. No, Stuart had been collaborating with Dennis Paoli, like for prior to, I guess, when you started working with him.
Oh yeah, a couple of movies.
Yeah. And then I know Dennis said that he was given the script and he looked it over, but he didn't write enough to get a credit on it, and that's why he has a special thanks. Do you remember talking to him at all about it, or do you remember him being involved at all, or were you not involved in his?
No, I was given a copy of the old script and said,
No, wait. You wrote the first script.
I wrote the first script. Yeah, that's right.
Dennis rewrote it.
Yeah.
Joe hated it a lot.
That's right.
He threw it across the room, as a matter of fact, and said, well, so much for my movie career.
Well, in fact, I threw it into the waste paper basket, and I called Stuart.
No, Stuart called you.
Stuart called me, and I said, forget it. I can't do this.
And then it was quiet for a long time.
Yeah.
And then Christmas Eve, we get a call saying, how soon can you be in Italy?
Yeah, literally. And
he handed him the combined script, and Joe did the rewriting. That's what it was, day by day.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's some fast.
Do it.
And there's some fast writing. But I figured I accepted that as Hollywood, so it's okay. I got on a plane, I think just right after Christmas.
Right after, in January we went.
Yeah, and I was writing on the plane, and when I got off the plane, I was still writing. So
did you have the typewriter on the plane?
No.
No, I usually write longhand.
All right. Well, I'd like to think you had the typewriter, but anyway.
Yeah. No, I did have. I had my little.
Yeah, carried a typewriter because they wouldn't let him have a computer.
Yeah. None of this new fashioned stuff.
It was early, but we already were on computers.
Yeah, we had a computer, but we used a typewriter because that's what the Band Brothers wanted.
Okay.
Didn't want to spend the money.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, because I asked Dennis Paoli about it. I asked Dennis Paoli about your involvement or his involvement, or there was a collaboration between the two, and he basically said, "I'm sure he hates me," and I was like,
No,
yeah, that's what I figured. I figured it was not.
We never collaborated.
Never met.
I never met.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were probably wise to keep us apart and dealt with us separately, I think.
Would you like to meet him now?
Sure, of course.
Okay. Oh, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we can make it. Maybe that could happen someday.
That would be fun.
He's here in New York, and we see him every now and again.
Oh yeah, good.
Yeah.
John, I really thought for a second that you pulled a fast one on me and you had him just
right
waiting to join the,
Yeah.
the meeting.
No.
Oh,
No.
like, I did not expect that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that would have been cool though. I should have done. Damn, I wish I did that.
If you want to set that up sometime, it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Are you ever in New York City, or are you guys just in Florida?
We're in and out.
Occasionally.
It used to be that I lived half my professional life was in New York, but
Not anymore.
not anymore.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll keep in touch after this because I would love for us to set up a screening, a big, beautiful 35 millimeter screening. They were supposed to have a screening of Robot Jox here back in February, but there was like a big problem with the theater, and there was a strike at the theater, So no one ended up going.
Ah,
So
Yeah, it was really
no.
unfortunate timing of that.
Yeah. So we got to redo it and get everyone get the gang back together for a nice screening up here in New York and 35 millimeter.
Oh,
be
that'd
cool.
be, I'd
That
love
would
that.
be cool.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm sorry, my next question is so after the film came out and what specific so after you guys saw it where you saw it in Hollywood, what would you think? Like, what did you think of the final thing? It's okay if you hate it. You can tell me that you think it sucks and I'm
Oh
done.
no, I didn't hate it at all.
Oh, okay.
I thought, considering how hard it was to make this, it's pretty good. And there are parts that I hadn't seen. Of course, the very ending I hadn't seen, and I thought, oh wow, look at that! They actually found a desert. Yeah, it was quite fun, for almost everybody else involved in the project. It was just another cheap movie, and you hit your marks and go on to the next one. But it was my movie, my one movie when I was doing it. And I've done other things, but that's the only feature length movie I've ever, actually script and all this and everything.
and we can thank Stuart for that.
Yeah,
We loved him dearly.
Yeah. Oh, and the thunder just came crashing in.
Oh.
Yes, I did love him.
I got a story.
Before, sorry, I got ahead of myself. So you guys were in Italy, doing these rewrites. So
Yeah.
do you have any stories from being in there or being with Stuart in Italy, interacting with the cast? Anything like that?
Oh.
Like tell us about what it was like because I never would have guessed you were actually on set. So
Were you in the castle? Were you in
Stuart-
Charlie Band's castle?
Pardon?
Were you
Yeah.
in Charlie Band's castle?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, but not all the time. We went there
Just
a couple
once.
of times, but we would have big, huge meals. All the cast would get
Every night.
together. Every night we'd go to a different restaurant in Rome, and Rome is, you can go to a different restaurant for 100 days. And so we just went. I'm sure Stuart had somebody going out checking restaurants, and we found wonderful places. Within, I don't know, a short car ride of the studio, and it was more than memorable. It was, and here's the thing that was great. We were all very conscious of this is something that's only going to happen once. You're never going to be this intimately involved in a movie again. And I said, oh, hey, live with it. That's great. And we were, really on call 24 hours a day. And sometimes we were working 24 hours a day. But that's the business, it's part of the charm of it. It's part of the reason it's great to live that way.
Can I tell a story about Stuart made this wonderful coffee table all lit up with and he Anne Marie was supposed to throw Gary onto the coffee table and break it. And we were all on set to watch this because it only happened once because there was only one fancy coffee table.
Handmade to
And Joe
break.
said, what are all the lights and things? And he put squibs on it. So when the stuntman hit it, everything exploded. And Joe had been saying, Stuart, coffee tables don't explode. Stuart's little girl was standing there, 6 or 7 years old, and she
Yeah.
said, Daddy, coffee tables don't explode.
Yeah. So
But
I
it
won
did.
that one.
I was gonna say I don't think that's in the movie.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
It is?
but it's just
Anne
a
Marie
split
throws
second.
this guy over her shoulder and onto this coffee table, onto his back. It was a stuntman, and it's in the movie.
Okay. Here I am, claiming to be the expert, saying wrong things.
Well, the scene is about
quick.
two seconds long.
Yeah, it's really
Right.
quick.
But that was part of the my great revelation about Hollywood, because we spent days making that 2-second scene.
Yeah.
I,
So
don't know, I thought it was a glass coffee table.
it's a glass coffee table, but it's got all stuff in-
Got
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Jarrod,
And-
am I remembering this correctly? You just watched it.
it
Yeah.
explodes.
Yeah,
Glass,
It's
glass
a-
coffee table.
Oh,
Yep.
okay, all right.
yeah. This is not any ordinary coffee table. It's got more explosives in it than than a demolition squad would be carrying.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So then you guys, okay, we just talked about your guys' reaction to it. So, how do you feel about where we are now? And when I say where we are now, I mean, by the time the movie came out, the Cold War is kind of
Yeah,
tapering off. But now, here we are. We're in an adversarial relationship with Russia, probably more so than we've been in I don't know how many years, probably like 50 years. So in many ways, your movie rings true now
I'm afraid so.
more so than it did in 1990.
And you have to admit, the cast of the movie has now moved into the White House and the Senate, and you know, we're seeing a sort of redefinition of reality. Well, what is reality anymore? I mean, I don't get political. I'm really not a political person, but you can't help it around these newspapers nowadays. It's a bad place to be.
Hmm.
All right. Now, also, Stuart said that he had an idea for a sequel where basically Achilles and Alexander and Athena have to team up to fight aliens. So this kind of sounds almost like a cross between Forever War and Robot Jocks.
Yeah.
Now, did Stuart ever mention this to you? Did he say, okay, if this is successful, we'll make this
Well,
sequel?
that would be hard to reconcile with the ending of the movie as it was made. I don't know. Did we ever talk about
I
that?
don't think so. I
think
don't remember hearing that. There was a sequel later
Yeah.
that that band or somebody cobbled together
Yeah.
Out of bits and bobs from the movie.
other things.
Yeah, I've talked about that on a previous
Yeah.
episode. But yeah, I know Stuart mentioned a sequel with where they fight aliens, but I guess that was just his idea. And
That didn't happen.
Yeah.
okay, that's basically everything that I have. Jarrod, is there anything else that you wanted to ask about?
Yeah, I guess like you said, you got a chance to see it when it hit theaters. You didn't really know what to expect because, like I mentioned before, a lot of time had passed in between. Was it, were you impressed? I obviously there's moments where the effects can be a bit dated. It's a product of its time in that way. But in 1990 or whenever you were watching it in this limited theatrical release, like were you impressed by the Dave Allen work for the stop motion and the way that it all looked? Because we just have such an affinity for his stop motion on the show. We've covered many things, like the new Primevals movie that took like 45 years for him to get made. But what were your impressions of the stop motion stuff that took so long?
No, I was blown away by that. I mean, really great stuff. And I went to see it. I had to go out to Hollywood to do some,
Other stuff.
other stuff. And the movie opened while I was there. And the the Band Brothers had never showed me a copy of it. So I went down and bought a ticket and went inside and watched it with the other popcorn people.
But but what did you think of the special effects that we had not seen before?
I really loved the special effects. I mean, cheesy.
Stop motion.
They were not state of the art, but they're very smooth and very impressive to me. As I'm looking at it and thinking, man, I wish I had seen that, what they could do before I wrote the sequence. It was better than I had expected, quite a bit better.
Yeah, stop motion in 88, 89. It's not state of the art in that sense, but
Right.
there's a charm to it. I mean, you watch Jason and the Argonauts, or you watch something like that, all the Harryhausen things, and it's
Oh, I
like
love it.
there's a charm to it.
Yeah. No, there is indeed. Well, dear dead days beyond recall.
Are you surprised, Joe, like to be having a conversation about Robot Jocks all these years later? Like, I mean, I know you've done, you've given interviews to books that are chronicling Empire Pictures, and there's a lot written on Charlie Band and a decent amount written on this movie, but its kind of cultural footprint and staying power within, the independent kind of B movie community, is that something that like impresses you, that you're sitting here having this conversation all these years later about this movie? Because I think at the time it probably feels like this is a job, just a job, and you expect to probably move from this one to the next one. But here you are in the year 2025, which probably to a science fiction writer sounded like a made-up year that would never happen.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, it's surprising because I didn't go from Robot Jocks into bigger and better movies. I went back to writing books, and I did some stage work and this and that. But basically, I'm a book writer, and that's fine. I don't know if somebody came back to me and said, "Hey, I just saw Robot Jocks, and I want you to do a cheesy adventure movie for me." And I say, "Hand me the script, man." I'd love to do it. It was so much fun. Yeah.
And going from screenwriting for this then back to books again, because the process for screenwriting and novel writing or short story writing is very different in a lot of ways. Did writing the script for Robot Jocks and then the whole process of, drafting in that sense change your approach to going back to novels? Or was it one of those like getting back on a bike type thing and you just kind of went back to the way you did before?
Yeah, it's like I got off the bike for a year and pretended to be something else, and then got back on the bike. I mean, I've been writing novels anyhow, and plays and short stories and such.
So that's for anyone who's listening to this who only knows you as the screenwriter of Robot Jocks, we talked about the Forever War. Is there a novel that you've written or a piece of work that you're kind of most proud of that you consider to be a good entry point into your writing for someone to kind of understand you as a writer if they want to consume more of, what you've put out there?
I think for a person who, if there is a person who really loves reading novels and is watching this podcast or listening to this, I would recommend The Hemingway Hoax, which is probably my most ambitious novel.
And Camouflage.
And Camouflage is right up there too.
Camouflage is an award winner.
Yeah, true. And well, from Hollywood what awards mean. It's, sometimes you get one and sometimes you don't.
Oh,
but I cherish the awards that I got from both those, and I've been an award winner all along in small ways, and so I've got my trophies up on the mantelpiece.
The Accidental Time Machine, for those of you who like time travel.
Yeah, I'm not familiar personally with that one, but you just said the title of it, and I'm like, okay, well, that would be one that I would check out because that definitely checks some boxes of my interest.
Yeah,
he's got a new twist on time travel. I don't think anyone else has done.
That's great.
Yeah,
and I've written other war novels. For some reason, I wound up writing a bunch of war fiction, and I'm not a right-wing warrior guy.
But you are
left-wing pacifist veteran. But I've probably half of my fiction output has been related to war.
Or peripherally.
Yeah.
Forever Peace, which is not a sequel,
right.
Stands alone, and it won awards too.
Right.
Oh, that's wonderful. And as far as John's relationship to, Robot Jocks as a property, I just want to say anyone who's listening to this podcast who discovered the show in the recent past and is hearing this before our Robot Jocks proper episode, you have to go all the way back in our catalog to episode 4. So this was episode. Yeah, it wasn't our 4th episode we recorded, but we pushed it up in release because we wanted it corresponded with the release of the Empire of Screams box set. So we had recorded more than that, but we ended up releasing that as episode 4. But from episode 4 to episode 122, if you have joined recently and you just discovered the show and you're hearing this and you're like, oh, I've been meaning to check out Robot Jocks. I've been meaning to go back. Definitely go back if you want to hear like John's origin story with that movie, how he found it, how he became the owner of all of these amazing, miniatures and artwork and all that stuff. So this is super cool for me, to get to see John essentially interview, the screenwriter of this movie that has obviously played an important role in his life. I've enjoyed just kind of being on the sidelines more and letting John take control of it. It's also fun. It's also kind of nice from a preparation and planning perspective, where it's like I didn't have to do nearly the amount of legwork for an episode like this like I normally have to do. So I thank John for that, and I thank John for getting you guys to agree to come on and for taking control here. So thank you again, John, for doing that.
Okay, I have one last question.
Yeah, fire
It's
away.
for Gay.
Yes.
Gay, you still got those jeans that you like to match on?
That wasn't me.
No,
I know, I'm kidding.
Uh,
I came along not too far beyond that, but
yeah.
Yeah, well, if you decide that you want to, go and check out some of Joe Haldeman's books, maybe some of the ones that he suggested here, I'm sure you're going to find something that you love. If you've never seen Robot Jocks, watch Robot Jocks, go back and listen to episode 4 of the show, and I'm sure that you'll enjoy that episode too. If you like what we do every week on the show, then jump onto Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Leave us a 5-star rating, maybe a brief review as well, if you feel so inclined to do so. If you want to keep up with the show, you can follow us at _Castle Freaks on Instagram. You can follow me at _Giallo_Jarrod, or Steve at Minotaur Matador. John, anyone who didn't hear your first couple episodes on here, where can people find you as well?
Oh, just find me on social media. I'm at John Torrani on everything. I've got some stuff coming out with my production partner, Heather Buckley, that we can't really talk about right now. But, I'll be around. I've got some other stuff that I did with Arrow that's coming out that is not officially announced yet. I'll be back. I'll be back on. I'm sure I'll be back on this podcast with some. I'll find someone else from some movie. Oh yeah, yeah. No, oh yeah. There's that guy that we have to get.
Have you interviewed Anne-Marie yet?
I didn't get to interview Anne-Marie, but they sent someone to her house to interview her, and it's on that box set that
great.
I was talking about. I'm gonna see if I can get one of those sent to you guys, so you can see. So you can see Anne-Marie, and you can see Gary's last interview. I'll try to I'll reach out to the distributor since I'm doing other work with them, and I'll see if I can get one out to you guys.
Appreciate
Thank
it
you
very
so
much.
much.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yep.
That was really a fine experience. Movie.
Yeah.
Working on that movie, just a fine experience.
Yeah.
That's really fun to hear. And we're so glad that we could have had the two of you on. And like I said, definitely check out some of Joe Haldeman's books. I'm assuming wherever you buy books, you are able to find these books. Joe, are you do you have any like a website or any kind of social media or anything?
Yeah, I've got a website,
JoeHaldeman.com.
And, it's
Facebook too. He's on Facebook.
Excellent. And as far as the show goes, we'll have some stuff. These episodes are available on YouTube in audio form. You can keep up with the show on Threads and Blue Sky as well.
Okay.
But yeah, and my co-host Steve, who's usually here, has another show called the Cinema Arcade, which is a show where him and 2 other co-hosts watch a movie and then play the video game that was made based on that movie and talk about it. And they've released about the same amount of episodes as we have, and it's such a mixed bag of weird stuff that you wouldn't expect there to have been video games for that he's covered on that show. And you can follow that show on all the same socials as well. So thanks for joining us for this really fun bonus episode with John and Gay Haldeman talking about Robot Jocks. I'm really glad we got to come back to Robot Jocks. We will see you guys on Friday for our regularly scheduled program for the movie Prison of the Dead. I know we prefaced that one a little bit on our bumper from our last episode proper, but we'll see you Friday for Prison of the Dead. Thanks again to John Torrani for making this happen. Joe and Gay, thank you guys so much for coming on and telling us some of these great stories from 35 plus years ago. And I hope that everyone has enjoyed it.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Jarrod. This was a blast.